Najeela the Blade Blossom versus Atraxa Praetors Voice. We don't have a whole heap of anything going on there apart from hopefully getting into a turn 2 Najeela with haste. Only problem is that will give our opponent's creatures haste as well. An Atraxa with haste is not something we want to be dealing with, but we're not going to be able to easily swing into an Atraxa anyway, so if we can get as many creatures on the board as possible, we'll go for a tiger here because we have a Nature's Law in hand. And we'll get down the Mass Hysteria. All creatures have haste. And then we can go for Najeela off of the Ancient Tomb next turn. Yeah, we don't want to be swinging into Atraxa, but if we can manage to swing in with Najeela a few times, we can at least leave Najeela back and just let the tokens swing in. And that will generate more tokens for us. We can see a Najeela. Yeah, Najeela on our second turn, but looks like our opponent, if they get into blue or white, they're going to be able to get down the commander and give it haste. So that's pretty worrying for us. We'll go for... yeah, we'll just go for our Ancient Tomb. There's an argument to be made for blowing up that Lightning Greaves, but I think we just need to try and race our opponent. We do have a Rift in hand. Let's go in with Najeela here, and we'll say yes and yield. I don't think our opponent's going to be playing too many warriors. If they are, we can remove the yields. And now next turn we can Cyclonic Rift our opponent. Yeah, we can Cyclonic Rift their Atraxa if they get it down, and then swing in with our 2 creatures again. And that should give us ample Najeela triggers to be able to go wide on our opponent. Problem is, when they manage to block with Atraxa, they'll gain 4 life on that. So I'm not sure. We need to get into some more warriors preferably, or at least a way of buffing the warriors that we have. Well, okay, Demonic Tutor. Okay, so in that case, we're going to hold up Mana Confluence. They might go for Swords to Plowshares, or they could go for Toxic Deluge. I'm not sure what they go for here. Or they may have just gone for a land so that they can get out Atraxa next turn. Yeah, there's any number of cards they could have gotten with that Demonic Tutor. Alright, they've laid down a swamp. That is certainly not a blue or a white source, which is good for us. We're going to get down Mana Confluence. And with that we can Nature's Claim. And we can also Teferi's Protection or Cyclonic Rift as well. So let's go in with our commander. And we get 2 triggers here, which means we get 2 tokens. And of course our opponent doesn't block because they have a 0-1 on the board. It doesn't look like they went for a Swords to Plowshares, so might be a board wipe that we're seeing here, which is exactly why Teferi's Protection is in the deck. Okay, they get into their white source. That means next turn, this is one of the reasons you want to minimise the number of tap lands that you run. Although they've been pretty unlucky getting into the Sunpetal Grove and the Woodland Cemetery. That means that they don't have a forest or a plains in hand. That would have come in untapped otherwise, and they could have gotten down Atraxa. Why don't we go for... No, we won't go for Nature's Claim. Actually, yeah, if we go for Nature's Claim, we can bounce the bird, can't we? And then they could potentially struggle on getting Atraxa out next turn. So there we go. It's a little bit of a greedy play, but the longer we can keep Atraxa out for, the better. Alright, Path of Ancestry. We still want to hold up Teferi's Protection, so we'll get down that tap land. I'm just swinging at our opponent again. Feels good. Yeah, feels good holding up Teferi's Protection as opposed to getting down the Brutal Horde Chief, I think. Our opponent paused for a second there, so I'm not sure if they have anything going on. Getting even more triggers here. And then I forget how Path of Ancestry is worded. I don't know if we can help make Wooburg with that. Let's have a look. Add 1 mana of any colour of your colours, your commander's colour identity. Yeah, you can spend it on whatever you want. Yeah, so that's good. And yeah, of course, getting down the bird again. And they've got into a forest, so... Oh, but completely forgot that we'd given our opponents haste. Yeah, first time I've ever played Mass Hysteria. So that's unfortunate. So now I think we want to get down Brutal Horde Chief. Yeah, completely forgot we gave our opponent haste, didn't we? And now this is the problem. Atraxa has lifelink. Luckily not going to make use of the proliferate. Okay, there's Rada. When it attacks, you can add 2 red. Let's see here. This thing can decide how our opponents block, but they do have to block, I think. So I don't know if it's even worth getting that out. Let's go in for... Yeah, they have to block that anyway, so why don't we just go for this? And this will of course have haste. And we get to scry as well. There's a land on top. Yeah, I was going to say, if there's a land on top, we'll put that on the bottom. There's a chance our opponent has some counter magic, but I think we're beyond worrying about that. We'll attack with everything apart from our Najeela. And then, yeah, we actually can't make Wooburg yet, can we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, next turn we'll be able to. But it might be too late for our opponent unless they get into a board wipe. But we do have Teferi's Protection. We'll always yes and yield to that. I don't see why we wouldn't want to add red. Although I dare say Rada is going to die this turn. Yeah, shame we didn't hold on to that Cyclonic Rift because, well, we couldn't necessarily have played it this turn anyway. Oh yeah, we could actually. We could have held on to the red mana from Rada, used a blue mana from Underground Sea, and used Cyclonic Rift to bounce the Atraxa, and then held up 3 mana for Teferi's Protection. Yeah, so that's what we should have held the Cyclonic Rift for. They could, of course, still get down Atraxa next turn, but don't think it's going to make a huge difference. We're still going to be able to go wide, I think. Teferi's Gambit, draw 2 cards. They haven't made a land drop this turn, so if they get into a land, as well as a Toxic Deluge, then that would have been a hell of a top deck, but that could have done something for them, but they didn't get into anything, and there wasn't a whole lot they were going to do with 2 or 3 mana anyway. Pretty much Toxic Deluge is the only thing that would do it for them, and even then we had Teferi's Protection anyway, so it's a good game to our opponent. We just managed to outpace them there with Ancient Tomb and the Mass Hysteria, and if you get down Najeela as soon as possible and she isn't disrupted, then this is what can happen. So, hope you all enjoyed that. That was Najeela the Blade Blossom versus Atraxa, Praetors Voice. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.